Here, here.
Okay, so without any further ado, I would like to welcome Willie Rennie to defend the motion that stands in his name.
It is an honour to be here this evening on your 116th, is it? 168th Earl Marischal debate. It's an honour to have such a distinguished panel to debate with this evening. Many of us have debated in the Scottish Parliament on more unfavourable terms than I hope this evening, but this evening it will be a joy nonetheless. I am a proud, committed, devoted Scot. I love my country. When I was a boy, I wanted a lion rampant tattooed on my chest.
Did you get it?
But my mother would not let me. Now, Mark MacDonald, do not call my mother anti-Scottish. She just does not like tattoos. The reason for my pride, however, is clear. The hills, the glens, the lochs, the flags, the castles, the banter, the people who live here. I even love Kirsty Blackman, Mark MacDonald, and God help me, Kevin Stewart. That is how committed I am to my country. For a long time, my country has been one of the best in the world. The best education system, education for all. Health services, the envy of so many others. World-beating climate change targets. A world-beating mental health strategy. A police force which celebrated traditional policing by consent. The list goes on. But after 9 years in power, this government, this SNP government, has dragged our country down. World beating before they took over, now just average. Just average. A proud country, proud of our achievements, now embarrassed by its decline. Mark MacDonald,
well,
yes.
This makes a pleasant change from in Parliament. Perhaps Mr. Rennie would like to reflect on the fact that currently in Scotland we have recorded crime at a 41-year low, and 9 out of 10 people expressing their satisfaction in the performance of local police forces. That would suggest to me that we have a strong record in terms of policing. Straight
from the SNP hymn book, I would not expect anything less from Mark MacDonald. The fact that crime across the Western world is at a record low seems to have avoided the conscience of the SNP. The reality is that we have a police force that has been decimated by this SNP government, and he should be embarrassed about that. Not just now, I want to make a little bit of progress.
That's normal in Parliament too.
Let's look at the facts. Our education has now been judged just above average, when it was once considered the best. The widening inequality gap, the falling literacy and numeracy standards, a college sector which has lost 152,000 places, nursery education targets that haven't even been met. Our climate change targets haven't been met for 4 whole years. 10 million tonnes of carbon has been emitted into the atmosphere than should have been if the targets had been met. We have no mental health strategy. No mental health strategy after having one of the best in the world, and you have to wait for an age for urgent mental health treatment. Our police force has been eviscerated with the abolition of the 8 forces and the centralising to one national force. It has been deploying industrial scale stop and search, armed police on routine duties, and the guts ripped out of our control rooms. I am angry that this government has presided over such decline. Although the causes of this decline in education, the environment, health and police are wide and varied, there is one central reason. The central reason is this: a 3-year-long campaign that drew all the resources of government, and it took its eye off the ball. It's a little surprise that these SNP members, these government ministers, have been distracted. It's what they've existed for 80 years. They had been waiting for that moment. I can understand. I could even forgive them for wanting to have this shiny new present. But it's unforgivable that it took 3 years for our whole government to be distracted onto this enterprise, dragging our country down in the process. Now that decline was bad enough, but that combined with the division that the SNP inflicted on the country was unforgivable. I met a lady today in Aberdeen. She said she had not spoken to her daughter since the independence referendum. She'd fallen out over independence. And there are hundreds of thousands of people across the country who are in exactly the same position because of the division caused by my colleagues on the other side of the argument this evening. A country united in spirit, now divided by narrow politics. It's the politicisation of our country and its identity that is unforgivable too. The saltire is not owned by the SNP or the National I resent their use of it. The yes flags, the flag poles to mark support for independence, the face painting at rallies, the identities of our nation deployed as seedy political baubles. It's no less than theft, and it's deeply damaging. No one should be forced to question their own loyalty to their country because their national icons have been captured by political opponents. And let's look finally at the Gers figure, the crowning moment for the Nationalist Party, a £15 billion black hole when we were promised that we were going to be the 6th richest country in the world, the 6th richest with a massive deficit, twice the rest of the UK, 3 times the European deficit limit. These people have dragged this country down, they've brought it to its knees. The SNP, they claim to be the party for Scotland, but its record shows this. It is the party against Scotland. I commend this motion to the House.